In October of 2023, one of my projects took Best in Show in the Masters Division at the International Show. And today, I get to share that with you. That's coming up. Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Reeks. This is the Leatherverse. Today, I get to share one of my passion projects with you called the Homestead. Like I said earlier in the intro, it took Best in Show at the International Federation of Leather Guild Show, that's a mouthful, in the Masters Division. And the reason I'm sharing it with you today is not just because I love this project, and I do, it turned out amazing, but also because I want to inspire your creativity. I want to get you thinking out of the box. Yes, you can do belts and wallets and purses, and there are creators out there that will do amazing things. They will blow your mind with what they can do with a belt or a wallet. But there's a lot more that you can do too. So what do I mean by there's a lot more that we can do with leather? Well, if you look over my shoulder right here, that's a piece called False Hope. And to the, just at a first glance, it looks like a suitcase. And it is. It's a late 1800, I'm told it's a James Brown suitcase that I converted into a snake oil salesman's kit. And if there's enough interest, I might show you that in the next one. But something like that is so far out of the realm of what most people do, most people don't think of doing it. So real quick, before we jump in and we take a look at the Homestead, something I need to mention is that this is not going to be a teaching video. I'm not going to be teaching you how to do the Homestead. It's got more than 600 hours in it. It took me something like 6 months to do it. So there's no way I could teach that in one video. Now what we are going to be doing is I'm going to be doing online classes, classes on my website that you can purchase and work, at your own rate. And I'm going to be teaching them at the leather show. So we're going to teach different elements in the individual classes, but we're not going to be teaching today. It's going to be more of a show and tell and kind of an inspirational kind of video to get you thinking outside the box. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump in and take a look. As we're going through and looking at the different aspects of the Homestead, I want to point out that everything you see is leather. I went to great pains to make sure that no matter what angle you looked at the project from, all you can see is leather. And one of the first questions I get when I tell people that is they kind of repeat the question back to me. Everything is leather? Yes, everything you see is leather, including the grass, the leaves on the willow, the vines on the willow. Everything you see here is leather. One of the other questions that I get is, how did you get it to stand up? I mean, the thing's 3 stories tall. How do you make it stand up under its own weight? Well, it has an internal structure that's hidden that gives it just enough structural stability that allows it to stand up. The third question that I get all the time is, what order did I build it in? Did I go bottom up, inside out, outside in? What order did I go in? Really, when you work on a project like this, you have to work on all angles at the same time, which is one of the really challenging aspects of it. But I started with a shadow box and I filled it with the insulation foam, the kind that you can get from Home Depot. It's usually pink. I think it's like an inch or 2 thick. But that gave me the structural stability for the foundation that I need. Then I shaped it to give it a little bit more dimension, and I coated it with a plaster mesh, the same kind of stuff that they used to make cast out of. From there, it was a lot of experimenting with the soil. We've got white plaster down right now, and I've got to be able to put dirt on top of that. I can't put grass directly onto the plaster. That's not going to look right. So I've got to create some kind of leather soil, leather rock. So it took about a week to figure out how to perfect that. Then the challenge became, how do you attach this fake soil, fake rock to plaster? Well, there's a particular adhesive that you can use that makes that really simple. We're going to go over all of that in the online class that we teach. But really the biggest hurdle was going to be the grass. I'm going to go into a lot of detail on how to create this grass effect when we do the online class. But for now, just know that it's a multi-step process to get the right texture, to the right look, and to end up with grass instead of a haystack. This is where it got really chaotic because I had multiple aspects of the project going on at the same time. While this part was setting up and drying, I was over here working on this and trying to figure out how to do that. And while the glue was drying over here, I was back over here trying to figure out how to make a weeping willow out of, leather. How do you do that? So it was just kind of a keep all the balls in the air kind of scenario. But again, that's one of the challenges of a project like this. Now, speaking of the willow tree, I want to give credit where credit is due. If you want to know how to make the trunk of this tree, Tony Allen Bernier, as far as I know, is the one that came up with this technique. He may have seen it somewhere else, but as far as I know, he's the one that came up with the technique for making the trunk of the tree. I want to give credit where credit is due, so we're going to put a link in the description of this video that will take you to that. Now, the willow part of it, those hanging vines, that's a technique that I developed. We're going to cover that in one of the classes that we teach. So we're not going to go over that right now, but I do want to give Tony credit. He came up with an amazing technique for creating the structure of that tree, and we're going to link to his video in the description. After the ground and the willow was done, it was just a matter of working from inside to out and bottom up. It's really important that you get the inside done before the outside, otherwise you're not going to be able to reach it. Everything that you see was painted as it was made so that there was no chance that brown paint was going to end up on a white surface or something like that. If we look at the roof, the tiles were laid one at a time. Now, there's a way that you can make long strips of tiles, but it just wasn't going to look right. It was going to look like a dollhouse or something like that. So every one of the tiles was carved, textured, and laid one at a time. Once it was painted and assembled, the whole thing was weathered as one piece, just like it would in real life. You can see in some of the corners that the corners are dirtier than the rest of the wall is. The roof has a dark area on it where the soot would have collected from the chimney. The moss is growing in areas where it would naturally grow. And that's the last thing that I'm going to mention. If you look at the roof, you can see that some of the tiles are falling off. You can see the substructure of the roof. When we were at the show, there was a lady there who mentioned that, hey, some of your tiles are falling off, and she immediately went, nope, it's supposed to be like that. The reason she knew it was supposed to be that way is the substructure under the roofing tiles is weathered and there's moss growing in those areas. So that told her that it was intentional. And that's a really important point. If you're going to be creating a competition piece or something like that, and you're going to do something outside the norm, like letting shingles look like they're falling off the roof, you need to have a way to be able to tell the judge, hey, this is supposed to be like this. It was intentional. I hope taking a look at the Homestead has inspired you to do something outside the norm. Find something that it just sparks your creativity, something that's exciting and you're passionate about, even if it's strange and weird like a snake oil salesman's case or a D&D style cottage. Find something that you're interested in that's out of the norm and then give it everything that you've got. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, go make something amazing.